Hello everyone, my name is Jordan Brown. I'm going to be talking about the key modes of communication in the construction industry. Before I begin here, I just wanted to share a little comic with you guys. It's not the funniest. It was pretty hard to find something related to professional writing in the construction industry, but this was the best I could do. The purpose or goal of this presentation comes down to about 5 different aspects. Having a mentor to speak with will help me discover any difficulties I could come across. It'll allow me to strengthen any of my communication weaknesses with practice. I want to learn from what my mentor has to tell me. He is very successful and exactly the type of person a leader should be. I need to listen to advice because it can only better me. This presentation has also helped me become a better communicator. Exploring professional communication in the construction industry will help me feel more comfortable. Lastly, I hope to gain a better understanding of the types of communication in the construction industry. The main point of doing this presentation is to understand the key modes of communication I will need to be proficient in construction management in the future. So for a brief overview of what I'm going to be talking about in my presentation, first off, my interview with Cameron and why I chose him to be my mentor. Then secondly, I'm going to talk about what I found out through the interview. What did I learn from it? And thirdly, I'm going to be going over the most important writing styles in construction management. So for my interview, I emailed my former boss requesting to ask him some questions about professional communication in the construction industry. My boss Cameron provided me with some excellent feedback with his answers, and I'll go over that shortly. So who's Cameron? Cameron Curtis is who I chose to be my mentor. He is the owner and founder of Curtis Homes LLC. Curtis Homes is a residential construction company that has been very successful. They are growing rapidly due to all of Cameron's hard work. And then pictured with him is his wife Emily, who has also done a lot to help build the company. So why did I choose Cameron to be my mentor? He built his company from the ground up at a young age, so I really respect that about them. He worked alongside his grandfather growing up. He left school freshman year to help rebuild the disaster that was caused by Hurricane Katrina. After that, he worked towards establishing his first construction company and has just grown since then. Cameron puts his faith, community, friends, and family first. He is easily the best boss I've ever worked for. Cameron has set the standard as a builder and company owner that I want to live up to. He he was always positive and knew how to motivate employees. One thing that Cameron did that I really liked was that he always listened to what I had to say. Once or twice a month, he would buy me breakfast or coffee and give me time to talk about work. He wanted to do everything in his power to see us all succeed, and I really enjoyed that. And then his communication skills were very effective. He did a good job of making sure everyone felt important. He used his communication skills to seek out investors to help keep Curtis Homes growing constantly. He successfully can hold people's attentions during meetings. He held his meetings with a lot of energy and positivity. He brought snacks often, and he really did a good job of making sure we weren't bored. Cameron always stays one step ahead. Some examples of this: he gets to work early and stays late. There's been times where I've driven by the office at 9 p.m. at night and I would see his truck still there. He's constantly working. He usually sells homes before they are even built. And lastly, he always pushes his company to continue to grow and do better. So right here we have the email interview question and answer. I'm not going to go over all the questions I asked him. I'll just talk about a few that I thought were important. First, I just asked him some questions about some books he recommended involving communication. And then a question I wanted to talk about was question 3 here. Up at the top, it says, do you communicate with everyone differently? If so, does it help you? His answer was, I generally communicate the same, but adapt my skill to fit each person's style or need. I generally focus on asking the right questions and prepare to listen and not talk back. I think the more we can listen and understand someone else, the better we can prepare to execute our goals. I really liked his answer. I think having the skill to listen is super important. Another question I wanted to ask was question 7. How do you communicate using social media? His answer was, like crazy, it is the way of the future, and we field questions all day long on social media. Lastly, I'm going to go over some of the most important utilized types of writing in the construction industry. First off, there's bids. Bids are basically proposals to manage a construction project. Estimates are used to start the bid process. Bids are a signed contract agreeing to do a predetermined set of work for X amount of dollars in X amount of time. The details in bids must be very specific. Schedules keep projects organized. It's a timeline to organize the different phases in the construction process. I used a cloud-based software this summer called Buildertrend. It was a super cool program, and it allowed a schedule to be communicated with the company, the buyers of the homes, and also the subcontractors. Budgets, that manages income with expenses in order to ensure a profit. So that is definitely important to understand. I put down general construction because there's a lot of lingo in construction that someone would have to be familiar with in order to succeed. And then questions. I think a construction manager has to have the ability to answer questions professionally. They get asked tons of questions each day, so I think that is an important skill to have. Specifications, they describe details of material and workmanship for projects. There's 2 types of specs. First off, you have prescriptive, and prescriptive specs have to be followed exactly. Performance specs means workmanship must be done to a standard by any means necessary. Plan sets, they include drawings and construction terminology. They are vital to understand and process. Permits, they give authorization or consent to do something. Inspections, you need to pay attention to detail in order to pass. They are zero tolerance. Communication between the inspector and builder is important to have. If changes are needed to be made in order to pass inspections, that needs to be communicated. Change orders happen all the time in the construction world. They involve all sorts of communication. Change orders can make or break budgets, and clear communication will eliminate any error. Lastly, summary here, professional communication is absolutely necessary in the construction industry. Strong communication skills allow someone to lead, network, and build relationships. Thank you very much.